Hello, Steve White, Trek 89 for Steve Arts 89, Star Trek's Alleged Gatekeeper. Okay, so Strange New Worlds, Episode 4. Very problematic. I wasn't really looking forward to this episode. Um, it would be a good episode if it was dealing with an alien race other than the Gorn, because it totally destroys canon. Because as we know in the original series, if you have watched the original series, the episode Arena, the Federation never encountered the Gorn before. So just the idea that they already had encountered the Gorn, and the Enterprise had encountered the Gorn, Spock had encountered the Gorn, and also mind melded with Lan, and knew all about the Gorn and actually experienced it through her memories, yet has no memory of it when we actually get to the episode of Arena. So apparently Spock's an idiot because he can't remember something as huge as an attack from the Gorn, which damages the Enterprise to the point where I think the next episode they spend it at a space dock, is just hard to believe. It's just hard to... It just destroys any sort of suspension of disbelief. Like, unless you view it as a recon, a reboot. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to deal with it. Like I said, on its own, if they dealt with any other race, and that's the other thing, why did they deal with the Gorn? Why bring up a creature that we've already seen? Because this is all supposed to be new. It's supposed to be, strange new worlds. Well, we've seen the Gorn before. Why are we remaking Arena? Which is basically what they've done. They remade Arena, except, the battle basically takes place on the ship instead of an alien race intervening and beaming Kirk and the Gorn down to the planet. Now it's Pike and the Gorn basically remaking Wrath of Khan. And yeah, it's just... the episode was good if you view it separately from Star Trek canon, but this is supposed to be a continuation, so how do you do that? So a lot of issues with this episode. Now the episode itself, what happens? Basically, we see Uhura is working with Hema. She's all over the ship doing different things because apparently she doesn't know what she wants to do. Everyone else is doing their thing. Basically, they beam down to a was it a star base or some colony or something, and everyone's dead or missing. They find everyone is in a cargo ship hiding. They can't beam them over, so they use what do they call it? Basically, they put a walkway between the two ships, and the crew will come on, and Laan talks to a little girl who's running away from her mother because she's scared of the monsters, and she makes the noise that the Gorn apparently make, and she realizes it's the Gorn, and she tells Pike what to do, and she's like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to go to red alert, blah, blah, blah. So, but it's a bit too late because the Gorn attacks, and while they have the thing tethering the two ships together, the walkway, they can't raise their shields. So they get a lot of damage, sick bays damage. They've had all their supplies destroyed, and they don't have the matter synthesizers working, so they can't do anything but stitch people up with actual sutures in sick bay and use actual blood transfers from actual people. Old archaeological, level medicine at that point. Uhura and Hammer are the only people in the cargo bay, and they have some device, which I thought they were in the engine room for a minute. I'm like, no, they're in the cargo bay, but yet they're dealing with this device that is going to blow up, basically. So they're dealing with that. Hammer's had his arm broken, so Uhura has to be his hands for him. Number one has been injured, and she's basically on a sick bay bed all episode, and she's the one who needs a blood transfusion, and she ends up getting it from Dr. Mbenga, which I guess is a payback for last week of her basically letting him get away with breaking Starfleet regulations and so forth. And there's a lot of Laan yelling and telling everyone else what to do and reacting emotionally to everything and being not hysterical but alarmist because it's the Gorn, this boogeyman basically, which is what they've been made into being. So they're a legend apparently. So not only did Spock not remember the actual interaction, the actual incident with the Gorn on the Enterprise, he also didn't remember the space legends that apparently have been around for years. So they end up going and hiding in a gas giant which has a black hole in the middle of it, or was it a brown hole? Oh, God, did I just say that? Was it a brown dwarf? I can't remember. I wrote all this down and I can't read my own notes as usual. So they're hiding because, of course, like with the Mutara Nebula, the Gorn can't see them, they can't see them either, so they basically are hiding. They work out a way to find them and they attack one of them, but that just leads another two in with a better idea of where the Enterprise is. And La'an ends up going on a shuttle with Spock they have a plan. I can't remember what the plan is now, but basically while they're on the ship they do the mind meld, and that's when she remembers how to read the light signals that the ships are sending backwards and forwards to each other, which I don't understand why she would have seen that when she was a kid and held captive by the Gorn, and why that would relate to what they do in the nebula. But either way, she's like, I know how to read it, so she sends a fake message to one ship that the other ship's been taken over. So the Gorn destroy the other ship because they're weak because they've been, taken over and boarded. So now they've just got to deal with one ship because one actually collapsed. That's right. Pike kept going in and the ship followed them and was crushed. So they were down to one ship now because it ended up being three ships that they were dealing with. And they said, okay, we need to just set up we're going to play dead, like possums and several other animals that do that when they're attacked. They basically fly in to further into the nebula as it goes into the gas. Well, they're in a gas giant, not a nebula, sorry. And they have a black hole that's collapsing. Uhura and Hammer basically have got in EV suits and attached themselves to the deck so that they can open up the cargo bay and blow out the device, which is going to blow up because they can't actually stop it because it's damaged, and that was what they were trying to do, was stop it from blowing up. They throw that out basically to blow up, and then they have to get a certain speed or a certain position or something in relation to the black hole, so they won't actually be visible because they were going faster or something than light. So there's the blind spot that basically that they exploit. So the Gorn thinks they've been destroyed. They lose track of the Enterprise. They see the explosion. They leave, and the Enterprise is able to wait a minute and then leave on their own. So they do that, and everyone's okay. They did lose 7 crew members, and one scene was fairly interesting. They had the race swap transporter Chief Kyle running down a corridor, and he picks up someone who's injured who can't walk, and they're getting towards getting out, and Pike has to lock all the decks down, and that's because they're losing pressure, because they're getting pressure. The further they go in to the gas giant, the more the ship is being damaged and decks are buckling and so forth. So they have to shut everything off, and this crew member pushes Kyle through the door because he can't run as fast as him, and they're closing, and he pushes him, he gets in, and the other guy just gets there as they close his face, and then decompresses and he's lost. So they lost 7 crew members, but they managed to play dead and escape. And all La'an is thinking about is next time. And Pike is like, don't worry, next time we won't be taken by surprise, which is exactly what happens with the Enterprise, even though the Enterprise actually encountered the Gorn, but yet the Enterprise in the original series doesn't have any knowledge of it or memory of it, and Spock doesn't remember. None of the other crew members who were there remember. Just no one knows anything what's happening. It just, like I said, it destroys any suspension of disbelief and actually being able to, watch the episode without... You have to watch it totally separate of any knowledge of the original series or Arena. And you can't do that if it's supposed to be a continuation. and it's supposed to be canon, and this is supposed to be what leads into the original series. So as an episode of science fiction TV, it's quite good. As an episode of Star Trek, it's a complete disaster. It's got a lot of action, but that action totally destroys canon. So that's why this series is becoming problematic. If they had just focused on new adventures, there'd be no problem, because they wouldn't be rewriting any history. They wouldn't be touching on anything that we see in the original series. But there are only 4 episodes in there, and they've already rewritten 3 or 4 Star Trek episodes, original series episodes. So you can't watch those episodes and believe that these are all in the same continuity. So it's a bit of a mess. So it's a pity, because the episode itself on its own was great, but for all those other issues, it's just so problematic. It's hard to enjoy it. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.